So, time and tide wait for no man, or indeed woman, unfortunately. But as you get older as a runner, as you move through those veteran or masters categories, there are three key ways which you can remain focused, keen and competitive. And in this video, Dawn, who recently ran for the England Masters at the Bristol 10K, is going to take you through those three ways she maintains her motivation and competitive edge as she ages as a runner.
Like most of us, I ran as a school child. When I was at school, I wanted to run. I enjoyed running. And so for a few years, I took part in school cross country and a little bit of track. And I enjoyed it. And I was relatively successful. However, that all ended by the time I got to 15 and other things took my interest. And so then I didn't come back into running until I was an adult, a 34-year-old woman. And little did I know that within a year, because I wasn't very up on what veteran categories were, little did I know within a year I would actually be a veteran woman, 35 and a veteran woman. Goodness, what's that about? So, from the age of 35 to 42, I became very competitive. I joined a running club. I got some expert advice from the running legend that is Mike Grattan. I entered loads of races. I ran sub 3 at London Marathon, and that year I was 6th female in my age group. An amazing experience, something I never thought I was ever capable of. I ran for my county in the inter-counties cross country. It was an absolutely phenomenal time for me in running. I was loving it. I was winning races frequently, or at least being on the podium. I won a few marathons, and it was like I just felt that I could go on like that forever. My fitness at that point was so good, I thought it would last forever.
So on reaching a peak age 42, the motivation was there, the desire was there, race victories kept coming. At the time, Dawn was running 80 plus miles a week. That wasn't uncommon. Getting up early before work, running double days. So really, the next 5 years or so were a golden period of running. But sadly, all good things must come to an end. So Dawn's going to take you through what happened next and the three ways in which she maintained focus and competitiveness to emerge the other side for a successful past few years.
So yeah, I got to my late 40s and the injuries kicked in. So I had severe Achilles tendinopathy and plantar fasciitis, along with quite significant hormonal problems at that point. What three things did I do to bring me back to being the runner I am today, the runner that only quite recently ran at the Bristol 10K in an English Masters vest? Number one was acceptance. Acceptance that at the age of 50, I couldn't do the same training I was doing at the age of 40. I could no longer do those 80-mile weeks with 2 sessions, a long run, most weeks of around 20 miles. I was injured. I had to accept that injury. I had to accept that I had to change things. And so, by accepting that I was no longer going to be able to do that kind of training, enabled me to start looking at how to put things right, to get rid of my injuries and to start taking supplements that would sort out my hormones. So yes, number one, acceptance. So how did I deal with the injuries? Well, I sought professional advice. I saw physios, I saw osteopaths, and eventually I had an appointment at the hospital in orthopaedics, and I had some custom insoles made which enabled me to get rid of the plantar fasciitis, which was causing no end of problems when I was trying to run. So once I got over the injuries, I was ready to move on to stage 2, and that was motivation. Now, it's very rare that I lack motivation or have lacked motivation, but I have to admit to having a period of feeling quite demoralised. So one thing that kept my motivation was parkruns. So even when my Achilles was poorly and I could only run a few steps without having to stop, I'd turn up to parkrun if it was a 2-lap course, and I'd do 1 lap. I was motivated. I wanted to be around people, around runners. I wanted to still be part of the scene. So thank you, parkrun, because during those dark days of injury, you really kept me going. So yes, motivation. Find something that keeps you motivated, that keeps you wanting to get out there and doing whatever you can.
So we noticed these parkrun times were gradually getting quicker through 2018. So the next thing Dawn did to take the step back into competitive running was...
I went for a lactate test. Yes, folks. So I realised I wanted to get competitive again. I wanted to know how fit I was, but I wanted some real data to go with it, to help me to train. I contacted a coach that is known locally who has an excellent reputation and does lactate tests. And I went along to his studio and did the test, which involved running on a treadmill at different speeds, and he would take a pinprick off my finger to measure my blood volume. So number 3 was resetting my goals. So yes, I realised that I needed some new goals to go for. So I picked out a race, a 10k race, and from that lactic test I was able to work with the plan that the coach had given me towards improving my times and seeing what I could achieve once again. So my new goal wasn't an achievable sub 40 10k, which in my head I would love to have done. It was to go for what I felt was an achievable sub 45. Also, the results, the data I got from the test showed me that actually my potential was still there if I did the training to get back to a decent level for my age. So, number 1, I had to accept. Number 2, I had to stay motivated. And number 3, I had to reset my goals. All of these things got me back to being able to run competitively in my mid-50s and now my late 50s. So I reset my goals, and one of the goals I reset was my marathon. I've always loved the marathon, it's always been my favourite event, and so I was determined to get back to be able to do a good for age marathon. Yes, so the good for age time for my age group was around 4:05, which historically would be quite a soft target for me. But I hadn't run a marathon for several years, so I thought, let's set a target I felt that was achievable. After training for the marathon, I had several that were postponed due to lockdown, and eventually I got to do the Chester Marathon in 2021, and I achieved 3:28 something, and fortunately, I was first in my age group. So yes, that set me up nicely for setting future goals, and I fully intend to do more marathons.
So with Dawn having achieved her marathon goal, we went about setting some new targets, and I actually set one almost behind your back, really, didn't I? I noted that the 10k this year, 2022, at Broughton on the Water, lovely little Cotswold town, fell the day before Dawn's birthday and was actually an England Masters qualifier for 10k. So I managed to get ourselves on the reserve list. 2 places popped up. So off we went in February down to Gloucestershire.
So yes, at that Bolton on the Water 10k, I managed to get third in my age category in the time of just under 45 minutes. So yes, as you move through the age categories, it's really, really important to set new goals. And that's something I'll continue to do for a long time. I've got goals to still go for a faster marathon time. I'm entered into the Telford 10k, which is another England Masters qualifier in December. And I've got plenty of other goals in mind, such as fast parkrun times. And I'll continue to do that to always be the best me in each category that I go into.
So I hope you've enjoyed this video where Dawn has taken you through how she has remained motivated and competitive as she's gone to the top, taken a dip and come back fighting all guns blazing again. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. We bring you regular running, training and park runs and racing updates. So until next time,
Keep on keeping on.
keep on keeping on.